Are we rolling, Bob? Famous line from Bob Dylan. Hey, it's a new day. I'm Red Palmer, and I have two very special guests in the studio this morning, and it is Clark and Jeane Baker. Welcome to the broadcast. Lovely, godly couple, and the neat thing about it is I've known Clark how many years now? Maybe 5?
No.
More?
Probably 3 years.
3 years?
At least.
And he was a really interesting life as first of all, you were a Marine.
Yes.
And you were a professional Marine?
I was active duty in the infantry.
How many years?
I did 1 year in the Far East, and then
Really?
2.5 years on embassy duty. So I served in the Far East. I served in India, where I met Mother Teresa.
Really?
And I served almost 2 years in El Salvador.
And then, of course, you became a motorcycle cop. I mean, but when you think of a motorcycle cop in Hollywood and L.A., you think, wow. I mean, there's sort of just this image,
Well, that was about 10 years into my career. Before that, I worked a lot of different assignments on the LAPD, on the Los Angeles Police Department, in patrol. I was a training officer. I worked narcotics. I worked vice. So there were a lot of different assignments that
Sure.
I was involved in.
Jeannie, what did you do before you two met?
I worked in cosmetic dentistry in Beverly Hills,
Oh.
California, and
You must have met some celebrities there.
yes, lots of celebrities. And I also met Clark back in like 2003. I did a lot of photography in dentistry and also in political organizations that I was involved in.
Well, so you're a professional photographer.
I was pretty good at it.
Oh, great,
So
great.
professional.
And also, just so the audience knows, I mean, she's very attractive. You were in a movie. She's very pretty. Did not get married for the first time. This is your first marriage, and I got to go to your wedding recently. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
And he should be on his knees thanking God every day. Look at
he
how do you
does.
get a gal as beautiful as you and as godly as you? Why not marry till you were 68?
I was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, 69 actually.
So God was holding you for
Yeah.
for Clark.
I was engaged before, but it didn't work out. We were both Christians, and then my ex-fiance, his father passed away suddenly, and he had that blame God thing, and then he ran into some Hare Krishnas, and he just got into that. And I was like, well, that's not good. And he was very possessive, wanted me to join with him.
Hare Krishna,
And I
Krishna,
said,
Krishna.
no, I'm not eating their cookies. So I decided to get away from him, and I moved all the way to California in 1985.
Now, what year did you get born? What age were you when you got born again?
I was like 20 years old.
20. Oh, so that was young. Now,
Yes.
you, Clark, did you come a little later than that?
No, I was 19.
Really?
I've never really understood or gotten into the born again phraseology, but I was 19, November 1976, when God tapped me on the shoulder.
Okay, why don't you expound that? Because Jesus did say, make sure you're born again. But whether you know that vernacular or quote those words, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It matters, are you in fact, have you been birthed into the kingdom of God? Once from your mother, once of spirit.
Yeah,
Yes.
it changed my life.
Okay, what happened?
Well, I grew up going to Sunday school, going to church. My parents were very good at requiring us kids, my sister and brother, and I to go to Sunday school and to learn the lessons. And so I learned them by rote, not really understanding more than the moral of the story. And I was in the Marine Corps a little over a year in cold weather training in South Korea and Mount Fuji, Japan. And it was raining. Cold weather training is miserable. You're spending 3, 4, 5 days in a row, soaking wet, cold all the time, to the point where you get cramps from your toes to your back. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night, myself or another Marine in soaking wet sleeping bag, and waking up in sheer pain from the cramps, and you scream, and the Marines near you come over, and it's like a blanket party. They beat the crap out of your legs and your arms until the cramps go away, and you say, "Thanks, guys." And you're so cold that you forget what it's like to be warm, which is odd for me. And at 19, I had been praying regularly in my head, because I'm surrounded by Marines, and it's a private conversation.
It's not the macho thing to do, to pray.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't want to express what everyone else felt, which was cold and tired, and I prayed that the clouds would stop raining, so that we'd get at least a semi-dry night. And after weeks of this had gone by, I finally broke inside my head, and I railed at God and cursed and said, "You're not listening to me. You don't care about me. Why am I wasting my time praying to something or someone who isn't even listening to me or caring for me?" And it was about 10 minutes later that the clouds changed directions and the stars came out. And I got this overwhelming sense that can't be described better than by saying that it was as if God tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Why couldn't you have waited just a little longer?"
I don't understand.
Well, I understood, and I still understand.
Tell us.
Much like Job was going through his trials, and God told him, God told the devil, "You can do anything you want to Job, just don't kill him. Do anything you want," because the test was: is Job going to lose faith? Is he just going? Does he just love you because he has all these riches and these successes, or is he going to love you even at the worst?
Because his faith is tested.
And so I was tested, and the consequence of that experience was that from the age of 19, I was never afraid again.
Never afraid.
Never afraid of anything. I knew that I could get through anything after that experience. And that's important for somebody who wants to be a policeman and wants to walk through dark alleys and pursue predators and government agencies and really bad people and organizations. It makes you dangerous if you're unafraid. And it got me into a lot of trouble too, political and otherwise. But when you're not afraid, it frees you up to truly serve others in a way that you're not apprehensive.
I was always afraid of those beings in the book of Revelations. They have 16 heads and 14 arms and stuff. And I was afraid of those. And then one night, when Barbara had cancer, we're out at the Assembly of God Church on 60. And they have on a Sunday night, once a month, they have healing night. And so we were there praying for that healing. I wasn't even praying for this. And all of a sudden, it's like this wind came up. I'm up by the stage platform. People are praying with each other and stuff. And it was like, whoosh, and it was like the Lord said, "Don't worry about those. They're mine. You're mine, so you don't have to worry about them. They're not going to hurt you."
Right.
And there was a Linda Teets who lives in town here. She was deathly afraid of death. And she said at the age of 16, she was at an ecumenical camp. I guess that means a mixed camp. An ecumenical camp. And she said she was deathly afraid of death. She said all of a sudden, she became deaf. Couldn't hear anything. Couldn't hear the people playing, the kids playing in the schoolyard. And she said, a voice said, "You are not afraid of death." And then the voice, and then she came back to hearing. She's never been afraid to die ever since. Now and that's in keeping for a little girl who may not have known the scriptures. That's in keeping because God said, confess things that are not as though they were. He spoke the world into existence. So he said, you are not afraid to die. He didn't say, don't be afraid to die. He said, you are not afraid to die. Boom. And she was healed of that fear.
It doesn't allow us, I mean, that freedom doesn't allow us to descend with our behavior and make bad decisions. We can't sit in the number 2 lane of 95 and have lunch. I mean, God doesn't say you're safe in this, but it allows you to do, and this is kind of coupled with my Marine Corps training too. One of the first lessons you learn in the Marine Corps in boot camp is to get rid of the phrase, I can't do this. I can't. It's not that. I need assistance. I need some assistance to accomplish the mission.
So in other words, God is intertwined with your goals or your aspirations or your service.
All I need to do is make the cold call or confront the issue. And I know there's a way to get through it.
Well, like Hemingway said, courage is not a lack of fear. It's in the face of fear that you keep moving forward. And it seems like God responds to that. I've noticed throughout life. You do a study on this. Pat Robertson was a boxer. I know all these boxers that became preachers, some world famous. And I never liked to box, and I've done a study of it in my head. And I finally wrote a little chapter for a book I'm writing recently. Said, I know why God likes boxers, because you go in. If you're reticent and shy and afraid, you're going to lose. Mm-hmm. It's like Tyson. I interviewed Mike Tyson a few years ago, and now I was never into boxing. Now, of course, I watch it all the time because I met him, and he just goes in. Doesn't matter. He knows he's going to get hit. Accept the fact you're going to get hurt. Put the hurt off and go forward, in the face of danger.
How about Don Quixote? The man from La Mancha, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. Because I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And that's my theme.
Okay, we continue.